I'm not going to lie. I feel like Cust right now. I feel like I have got this dark cloud that on me, at least in a golf sense, and I've got to remove it immediately.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog, the Sony Open, the first full field cut event of the 2025 golf season. Picks, bets, one and done, a recap of last week. So you smash the like, you sub to Mayo Media Network, and you need to go join the race for the Mayo Cup, one and done. It starts this week at the Sony Open. $250 per entry. I've been giving away a bunch of free entries. In fact, I have two more winners, the final two winners right here on the page in front of me. Actually, it's on the screen in front of me that I'm giving away right now. And then it's a race to go fill this thing up. $100,000 to first place, $1 million guaranteed in the prize pool. I would very much appreciate if you could help me go fill this. And this is usually the time of year when this really picks up. The Monday and the Tuesday, it usually fills by the Tuesday evening before the tournament starts. So if you want to get an entry, you have to wait another year to get back into this. So you should probably go do that as we're speaking right now. Hell, you can even tune out of the video or leave it on playing in the background or hit the description, fantasygolfchampionships.com, to go get your entry. Geoff, the two free entry winners. One of them, they sent me their entry and got in. That's where the majority of the free entries have been given away. So shout out to Tristan Saha. I sent you a message on Twitter, so you got your free entry in there as well. And the winner of the rating and review, the free entry, you didn't have to get in on this one. A lot of people got in on this one, so it was very difficult to win. The winner was B. Del Priory 2. I also sent you a message on Twitter as well. So those are the two free entries. No more free entries coming anyone's way. You got to pay the $250 to get in. 5 max entry. Let's go fill this up because, Geoff, if this doesn't fill, it's a real bad look for old Pat Mayo.
Well, I think we'll get there. I'm only in for 3. So if there's like a desperation text you send me, I'll sign up for another 2 to help you get across the line. But I've said many times, I've historically really not even taken my own advice, struggled in one and done. Hopefully I can bear down and execute this year and not just be the donation I'm always.
Well, you did win our 3-man last year. Cust already has his pick in for this week in the opening tournament. But if you do want some one-and-done strategy, I released an entire article on X underneath the article tab. I believe it's pinned to my profile right now, which will get replaced by the Sony Open Picks that are coming up. I also sent out an email in the Mayo Media newsletter about one-and-done strategy as well on Sunday evening. If you're just looking for a little bit more, I'll link that down in the description as well. But you, sir, have some apologizing to do to the man who won the Sentry.
Oh, man. I am like, my head is in the clouds normally, but holy shit, Pat. Like, what an omen. What an omen. I said on last week's show, if there was a high-end player who I don't think is going to win this week, it would be Hideki Matsuyama. The only saving grace is I'm not one of those psychopaths who would make a no bet on a golfer, and that I wasn't even around my sports books last week, so I only had access to my streeter with outrights, and I couldn't even like pick on him in props. But what an embarrassing way to start the season. I said he needed to rev his engine a little bit. I'm the one that needs a serious engine revving. Like, holy shit. That, and we recorded a show trying to be proactive early. I'm on vacation.
Mistake.
Scotty slices his hand
Mistake.
like 4 minutes later. Like what a horrible couple omens. I'm not going to lie. I feel like Cust right now. I feel like I have got this dark cloud that on me, at least in a golf sense, and I've got to remove it immediately.
So let's get a winner at this tournament. That's all you need to do. And you only made 2 bets last week. You lost the least out of everyone.
I did. That was the only saving. I had no clue. I was like, screw it. Anything we talked about with those pre-Scotty numbers, I obviously missed. I didn't see it quick enough, and then I wasn't going to bug people back at home to get the places with the early numbers. So yeah, I guess I lost less money, all things considered, but I got to check back in immediately. Like the coach should have me doing like suicide lanes. lines like this morning. I'd be dead after like 30 seconds, but I don't know. I feel shame. I just want you guys to know I feel shame.
The numbers are really out of whack for the Sentry, like the strokes gained numbers. Like I was looking at Siwoo's numbers. Apparently he lost 13 strokes around the green, which is not very good. But we see this every year in the Sentry where it's such a limited field and so many birdies are being made that like one bad shot will absolutely annihilate all of your numbers. But Hideki was just a wagon this week, man. The lowest total score relative to par of any player in history, beating Cam Smith's record. He finishes at minus 35. And he had a great week. And it was funny because once he opened up that little lead on Morikawa, it somehow felt insurmountable.
Yeah, because Morikawa would just have to make the putts. And Morikawa hit great shots. Hideki would stick it inside of it. I find people complaining about the Tournament of Champions, like any aspect of it, to me reeks about like the same as someone complaining watching a preseason NFL game.
I was gonna say it's like the Pro Bowl.
Sure. Yeah.
And like if you go into it with that mindset, then I don't think it's that big of a deal at all. And listen, it's the first tournament of the year. It's in Hawaii. It's a limited field event. It's a way for guys to go get some paychecks, get some reps in. It's beautiful scenery. When I was watching football on Sunday, it was on TV number 5, and it was like minus 13 here. It was the coldest day of the year, only trumped by today. So just seeing some like nice vibes and whales and sun on TV kind of warmed me up just ever so slightly, just for a moment.
Yep. That's what it does. I didn't really see any of it yesterday. It was kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. There were too many things happening in football and not enough TVs. But I appreciated Hideki's performance. Wow. I don't think I've ever done that before, Pat.
Just completely tuned out or done. Well, listen, I do the Golf Digest picks column every week, and we have to give a fade. And I think you might remember, it was you or Tim who would remember this, that one of the very first columns that I ever did, they had this like data scientist on, and he gave his fade of the week as Jim Furyk, who was like 49 at the time at 250 to 1. It's like, that's not really the spirit of how you have to do with fades. But like every year, like you have to pick like one of the top 4 guys on the leaderboard. At least in my mind, that's how a fade would work, or someone who's 25 to 1 or lower. That's the way that I do it. So like 3 or 4 times a year, my fade of the week will win the tournament, but I wasn't going to bet on the guy, therefore I'm fading him. I get it.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do it again this week. Try to give someone
who's not going to win.
Yeah, a good player to back. And before we get there, I've staring at some of those good players. I kind of want to make a move, but I've just been at the back so far.
We have to talk it through first. That's one thing where I think we got ourselves in a lot of trouble last year. And look, you take half of the second place finishes that we had, turn them into first place finishes, and then we're sitting here talking about how good we are at this. That's the fine margins of outright golf betting, which it is a loser. Listen, if you're only betting on outrights, you're probably going to lose money. I know I sure do. You have years where you win, and then you have years where you lose. You try to teeter-totter it and hit, try to get to your number. If 6 is the number for the year, you'll probably be profitable. But I think last year was a bit of an outlier. I even wrote that up in the one-and-done strategy that, you know how many winners the winner picked in the one-and-done last year? In the race for the Mayo Cup with, it was 4,500 people. The most winners anyone picked in that tournament last year.
4, since you made it seem like it was low.
5.
Okay.
Which makes sense because the first 6 winners of the year were all like 300 to 1, so no one had them. And then Scotty won 7 times. You can only use them once.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I appreciate talking it through. I'll have these like fights in my head. Should I be an each way player? Should I not? We shall see. I'm excited to bet though this week. Last week I wasn't like excited to bet. There are names I actually want to bet this week. I want to lose money on. Also, to your point, outright golf betting. If you're like, it is the like crack cocaine above like dog racing and horse racing. Like all my friends who consider themselves like hyper sharp bettors, period, they dabble beyond like little in outright golf betting. Now they'll play those tournament matchups. They'll find, there's like 120 matchups listed. They will find an edge in that sort of shit. Maybe over under like round scores. They'll do that. But the outright betting to them. They make fun of me the same way they like mock, a first touchdown bet. But I do that for fun and do this for fun. So let's just do it responsibly and hope to catch some winners.
I always tell people that the number one thing about outright golf betting is that there's no more fun than having the sweat on Sunday. And if you treat it like a movie, let's say you spend $100 a week or $50 per week betting on golf. It's the only real type of bet where you can get a big return on something like that. And you get 4 days of entertainment out of it. Like if you treat this solely as entertainment, which you and I do, and most people who watch this show do, I mean, I would hope that they do. I hope they're not taking our picks and be like, I'm going to be rich. Because you won't be. But for the entertainment purposes, where are you going to get 4 days of great entertainment for like $50? A movie costs $50.
But to that point, like there's a lot of, I mean, listen, I love just doing the outrights, but talking to Paul or hearing Paul yesterday with his like Johnny Vegas placing ladders, like, man, way to go, buddy. Sure as hell didn't see that coming. T5s, T10s, paid big money. Those paid pretty big.
Paul does this. Paul is like the best golf bettor I know. All he does is he has the Fantasy National app, which you can get if you have the subscription at Fantasy National. It's like the best app going. You shouldn't be using, if you want a leaderboard app because you hate the PGA Tour one or the ESPN one or whatever the hell you use, the Fantasy National one is actually the best one because you get the real-time scores, everyone on the same page. You can click the one toggle over and it shows you all their stats for the week. So basically all Paul does is look at the guys going into the final round, see who hasn't been putting well, and just ladders these guys up. You got Bobby Mack and Johnny Vegas. FantasyNational.com/Mayo, by the way, to get 20% off all of the tools on the site and the app that goes along with it. We're trying to make it free, but that's not going to be anytime soon. It's going to be sometime this year, but not right now. But that's just a great way to do it. Like that's an actual strategy to winning money, not being like, I got a feeling it's this guy this week.
I saw this guy composed over a 12-footer for par last week on like a Friday playthrough coverage. I got a feeling, Pat.
I mean, you say that. I bet Will Zalatoris. I saw Vincenzi bet Zalatoris to win the U.S. Open. I was like, you know what? After he was first round later, I was like, I'm getting in on that too. And Cool Bet was still hanging a 66 on him. I was like, perfect, I'm in. So I have Will Zalatoris to win the U.S. Open now.
I don't hate it.
It's actually,
he's Will Zalatoris. If he's playing good golf, you want him at those majors where everything he does is worth that much more. If he's healthy, he's a guy you want to chase. So I got no qualms about anyone sort of laying a marker on Willie.
Yeah, I mean, the first bet that I made this week was David Lipsky, top 20 at plus 550. So I'm just throwing that out there for you. You can see where my head is at for this tournament. If you watch the research show, which came out on Saturday evening this week, I'll probably bump it to Sunday mornings. It just loses traction. If you put it out on Saturday, it gets lost in the mix on the pod feed, people's YouTube, whatever it might be. But where we were having the Sunday Night Live show for football, that's over now. Then I have all Sunday as a runway for that show. So, but I just found that Lipsky kept popping up over and over. And he had 3 top 10s in his 6 starts in the swing season, which I thought was shocking. And he has a T4 here in the past too. But more on him a little bit later on. Let's keep talking about the Sentry for a second. Is there a chance Morikawa will go his entire career without winning this event, despite probably should have won it now 4 times now?
No. Impossible.
I don't know. I think this place has his number. Like just even yesterday, he was in the mix, and what did he do? Back-to-back 3 putts.
I guess you say the place has his number. Speaking of the Sentry and a minor thing, I'm going to say something nice, and then I'm probably going to follow it up with something that they could fix, and they'll learn that because it's a long season. Watching Max Homa in the Smiley Happy Hour, which it's nice, but we got to work on that thing. He spent like 5 minutes talking about how much Morikawa loves this place and how he's like just crushes it, and he's got to win here, so he'll win here.
He was up by 8 when I had money on him in the final round and couldn't win.
He's the type of guy, though, that'll still compete here when he's much older.
I agree with you. It seems crazy that he's been around, played so well at this tournament year over year over year, and had every opportunity to win, yet just can't win here.
So he is like to Kapalua what Greg Norman is to Augusta?
Or Canadians were to the Canadian Open before Nick Taylor.
Yeah, but Canadians never like consistently showed. A couple times. There was a Hearn or a Weir, but like consistent showing. Yeah, I don't know. I would. What would you? I mean, the guy goes off at like he was 15-1 this week, and in hindsight, that seemed like a pretty strong number. I saw a lot of the guys who had bet him consistently last year to no avail seemed pretty pleased to be able to start the year getting like a 14-15 on him on this course. Obviously, it didn't come through. I don't know. Him to win in the next 6 years would be like. It would almost be like him to win the next 4 would be the same price as like like Scotty to win a major this year.
Oh, for sure. If you guarantee that he'd be in this field every year for the next 6 years, he'd be, I don't know, plus 200, plus 150 to win one of those times. I agree. I wouldn't bet it.
Okay. Can we talk about happy hour?
I mean, yes, but all I saw, like I generally watch golf without sound on because I'm usually on the treadmill listening to music and then I'm watching golf at the same time. All I saw was Homo was on and then Thigala was on.
So my complaint is like they could have anyone on. I don't, guys, good or bad, have a great day, get on. That's great. Friends of Smiley, sure, that helps. I don't know. It's been a lot of like we're zooming in on their conversation while he's talking about a family or the off season. Like just show golf shots. Even in the background. And I know there'll be like a lot of boomers out there that like, who's talking? I don't know who's talking, so I can't make sense of the story. In some ways, I do respect that, and they always got to flash back. But it just seemed like if it's just going to be these personalities, like more shots, have the players talk about the course and the shots. They've played them. They know them. That's all. That's all. And I'm sure, you know, I don't know. It's a fine line of like wanting the players to show themselves and put their faces on camera. But that's all. That's all. And it wasn't even belt. Like, I had no bets. All my bets were like Wyndham had a moment, but it was like none of my bets were in it. I wasn't watching for betting. I was watching because it was golf and it was making me feel good. And that was just annoying me a little bit.
So
and Smiley's got a punchable face too. No offense.
Listen, I know all about having a punchable face, so I
Fair enough.
I can relate to it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the key to having your own like segment or video show is you need that. That's the trigger point for people. They either tune in because they like it, or they tune in because they really want to punch you in the face. I'm good with either as long as you smash a like and play in the one and done. I don't give a shit about it, but I can attest from personal experience that might be the case. Cameron Davis and Will Zalatoris in the final round both hit the wrong ball out of the rough.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You don't see that often.
No. You like see that never. You know, sometimes you'll have a buddy who's got the courage to do it. But, you know, that's about it.
I had a buddy argue with me that my ball was his ball once. We were playing during our tournament that we do every year. We had an odd number of people, so we had to play a one-person scramble. So you got to hit 2 balls off the tee as a grouping of 2, and you got to play your best one. So I had both of mine with my signature on it, or like my initials, the PM on it. And then he was arguing with me, like I know where both my balls went. I know where both his went. Both of his went OB, and I had one that was way down there, and then like one was off to the right. He claimed that he found his, which was very clearly the first ball that I hit, but he didn't realize that I had put my initials on it, so I let him argue with me for like 5 minutes about it, and then I turned the ball over to see my initials on it. He was furious.
Are you missing playing golf yet? Like, I was just in Florida. I didn't even play. I didn't even have an urge. I feel like the season went late here for me. I don't know. I'm not even like jonesing to swing a club at this moment, even though it's freezing outside.
I'm not either, and my season was cut short. I know that people who are watching the football show may not have noticed because I don't think I took a day off, but I had some surgery in mid-October, and I just wasn't able to exercise, work out, do anything, and most definitely not swing a golf club. So my season got cut short midway through October, so I didn't even get to enjoy the final bit of the golf season around here, but I don't know. Once football starts for me, I'm just grinding so hard on content that I don't have the time to get out. And I'm super frustrated because I'm not playing as well as I did because I'm not playing as often. Maybe I shouldn't feel that way, but I do. I just, when people get on the course, that's how they feel. And I have these new PXG clubs that I'm so fired up about. They just sent me a driver too. I really want to get out and try them out. And right after the golf season, I'm thinking that I want to go to, I've been talking about like going to Dominican Republic and even staying at Corrales, maybe playing Corrales when I'm down there. But but I've done it a few times. Like I know I played with Rick when I went to Vegas a few times when I've gone down for the conference in mid-February. Even when we did it in April for the Masters, it was a little bit easier because I had gone to the simulator so many times. But it's really hard. And I know that people from the Northeast and just Minnesota, wherever you're at, that when you have such a limited golf season as it is, it'd be one thing if I lived in Arizona, I went somewhere nice. I've been playing all year round. I'm going to play. Like, do I really want to drop like $300 for a round when I haven't played in 4 months and I know I'm going to play awful with a rental set of clubs?
Yeah, I hear all of that. Also, like me, I just like there's a I mean, geez, no pun intended, but yeah, I've got to rev that engine. Like my game just doesn't like come quickly. Although in it, I actually played quite well. Like picking it up raw when we went to Vegas in April. I was like for not playing in forever, but yeah, it's the last thing I want to do is like struggle bus out there for that first time in some exotic location. But nonetheless, I'm not even one of these like simulator indoor guys. It's too far away. The gains I would make now if I did that would be lost by the time it was actually coming to play. So yeah, I just like I'm on a full shutdown. Sorry to get off topic. I'm the one with the out time.
No, it's okay. Like I'll go to the simulator. I sponsor a guy on the mini tours around here, so he gives me some simulator lessons, and it's really worked for me. Shout out Neil on that front. But I'm probably like a month away from really like once football ends, I can get back into it. But I just don't have time right now.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's like. I don't believe watching TGL is going to have me jonesing to hit the semi.
How dare you? I'm running a TGL ad in like 10 minutes right now.
I'm going to watch TGL. I just mean I'm going to watch it for the players I like, for the PGA Tour brand I know, to see what sort of karaoke darts night they're going to come up with. But I'm not watching it expecting like I'm booking a semi sesh. I'm like jonesing for it. That's all I meant. I've already said they got me. It starts this week. I don't know if I'm watching it in real time, but I'll tune in.
Yeah, I mean, there's matchups tonight, Monday night. There's matchups on Tuesday night as well. My team, my official adopted team, the Bay Area Golf Club, is playing tonight.
I'm with you.
And they're underdogs. We bet them 5-1 to win the TGL outright. I'm going to bet them tonight, too, at like plus 135.
I'm on the... Okay, fine. I'm in on the Bay then, because I saw Ludwig's on the Bay. So it's it's Ludwig, Lowry. Who else is on the Bay?
It's Ludwig, Lowry, Wyndham Clark, and Min Woo Lee.
Oh, yeah. This is my sort of semi squad. Okay, yep. We're in the Bay. Thank you for making my decision for me.
So you can tune in tonight on ESPN and ESPN Plus, as you'll find out in a mid-roll ad that will air a little bit later on. But yeah, I just like the young guys for it. I might be completely off base with it, but I think the younger you are, I want the good drivers, the good putters, and the younger you are, the better. Like I don't think Kevin Kisner is going to be a great sim player.
I mean, he's even fucking playing.
He's on Tiger's team.
What? Who else is on Tiger's team?
It's like Tiger, the Jupiter Lynx. You know who's going to be there?
Well,
I had Keith Stewart on Friday. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a Friday live show. Did you happen to check out any of that? Because it was a print fest. Thor came on and gave us alt lines on the Buffalo and the Bahamas Bowl. It just smashed. It was awesome.
So, full disclosure, I did not even know that was happening. But after the fact, because I'm a DGen and I saw the Thor segment and the Buffalo alts, and I'm always looking for a bet on a standalone football game. So I got in on that. I now know you do a live show Fridays. I didn't know. Like I said, when I say I've been checked out, I've been checked out.
No, listen, I announced it very late in the week. That's why I'm bringing it up right now to tell people that it's going to be either 10 or 10:15 a.m. Eastern time. It will be on YouTube, and it will be on Twitter as well. We might even hook it up to Rumble, Jeff, just for you.
Pat, listen. Well, no. People are expecting me to do something right now. So for the brand, am I supposed to say happy Jan 6th?
Yeah, I think so. Now we're okay. Now we're trending. We're going to be good.
Oh, God. I didn't mean to do that.
It's Tiger, Kisner, Homa, and Tom Kim is on the Jupiter Lynx. Yeah, they're not favored in any matchup.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm in. All right, we're Bay guys.
Yeah, we're on the Bay. Let's go, the Bay Golf Club. Oh, what, you can bet them right now, plus 162 with a boost to be leading after 3 holes. This is the kind of, at least they are conforming and allowing themselves to embrace gambling, which I think is the only path for success for the TGL. And the fact you get Tiger on TV, which does have cachet to it.
Yeah, I'd argue this league, Tiger, almost like people's desire to just see Tiger on TV in any format that involves a golf club might be the key to this league's survival.
I think it's the only reason that it exists. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why it is where it is in Palm Beach Gardens. I get that's close to PGA headquarters as well. But just make it as easy for Tiger to play in this as possible.
Yeah, even if it's his team isn't playing, like if he's just going to show up and like be part of it and like holding a golf club, that might be enough to get this thing to season 3. We'll see.
We'll see about that. But yeah, tune in Mondays and Tuesdays. It's Mondays and Tuesdays, I believe, throughout January. Then it's Tuesdays during the course of the rest of the season. It ends at the very end of March. When does LIV start? This is a big problem with LIV, by the way. I cover golf. I pay attention to golf. I don't mind watching LIV. No idea when it starts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look right now. Most would say that's like on us because I'm sure that
no, it isn't. No, that's not. That's not true. Like if you are the secondary brand in golf and you want people to watch your product, like pay for some Twitter ads to say when you're starting, like something. Like I've seen nothing. I've heard nothing about LIV. Did Greg Norman get fired? Because I heard that too, but I'm not even sure if that's true.
Okay, so just to round this about, they are playing in Riyadh, February 6th to 8th, and then Adelaide, February 14th to 16th. Riyadh is like the one Brooks has won back-to-back. Maybe I'm making that up.
It might be true.
And Adelaide's obviously their big one.
So they moved that around then. But Adelaide used to happen later in the year, didn't it? Wasn't that like late summer?
So it's just quickly Riyadh, Adelaide, Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea, Dallas, Spain, UK, Chicago, Indy. I don't fucking know. They're on Fox this year. That's great. Like, that's great. Like, if my dad is flipping and he sees it, he will stay on the channel. Bryson, Brooks, DJ, Hatton, any of these guys are hitting a golf shot. A golf fan is going to, like, want to watch the golf shot. Phil Mickelson is hitting a chip from the rough, from under a bush. Like, I'm going to tune in to watch that. The problem is you don't know when you're supposed to do that. So it's just happenstance for a lot of golf fans that they'll like randomly flip on it. I mean that. So that's the thing that they have working against it. But they're on Fox now. So you can't, like, that's a huge thing. But people having no idea when you're playing is also a huge thing.
Do you think that, it's not on Fox, it's on like FS1, isn't it? Which we don't get in Canada.
I don't know. I mean, maybe both.
Like, what's it going to be on Fox at 2 a.m.? Live from Saudi Arabia? I doubt that.
Oh, well, it could just be tape delayed. Like, they might just show the round in, like, golf time on the weekends, if that makes any sense. Like, people don't care. No, like, I don't know about you, but, like, a lot of the boomers aren't on an app to see live results, so they'll just watch it, and even if they think it's live or not think it's live, just the purity of watching great players hit golf shots is what is relevant, not DFS or bets.
They should really, I think my idea for LIV, to give DraftKings like $10 million to run millionaire maker contests for LIV every single week. They just give the money to DraftKings and just at least engage that audience. Because your audience is so small to begin with, especially in North America, that's a great way to like, hey, I'll pay attention to LIV. I have a sweat on it now.
The weird thing about, well, I mean, not weird, but I find it strange. Only one of their events has a sponsor.
Do you find that strange?
The UK one is the only one with a sponsor, and they like put it in your face pretty hard. But it's polarizing because you're like, none of these other events have any sort of like corporate entities attached to it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. They didn't sign anyone this year. Maybe that's part of like a truce. Like giving Rahm all that money. I love John Rahm, but like he's a fart in the wind. No offense. Like people do not. Like I don't know. Isn't it crazy? Like no one gives a shit if John Rahm's in the field or not. It's weird. And I love golf. but I don't think it mattered one iota to the PGA Tour last year. Like the ratings were down because ratings are down in sports. That's just like a content thing, a cable thing. But I don't think it had anything to do with John Rahm not being there.
You know what? You know what? A lot of it had to do with was Jordan Spieth not being good.
Maybe because he's
the guy.
When
he is the guy. When he is in contention, people watch. Bryson will be another one, but only in majors. Like, no one's tuning into LIV if he's competing. Like, no one cares about that. But if he's in a major, people get, like, hyped for Bryson to be there now. Because now he's proven that. We saw that with the U.S. Open and at Valhalla. But for your average run of the tour, like, PGA Tour event, if Spieth is in contention, people will tune in.
I guess. Yeah. I feel like that has been proven in the numbers. Unfortunately, I don't know that any other player on the PGA Tour exists to move people to watch. People like to watch golf because they love golf. It's a beautiful sport, and it's got this appointment viewing sort of mindset that the tour has created on weekends on major networks. But I don't know that people are watching to see any individual golfer.
Few final notes about Kapalua. I had my first heartbreak of the year. Well, Paul cashed in his Johnny Vegas 22-1 top 5, top 10, and top 20. So congratulations to Paul on that one. I was sitting here sweating a 25-1 Harry Hall top 5. And then he goes bogey par on 17-18 to finish 7th and one shot off of the top 5. It's the par 5. Everyone birdie. People eagle or birdie that final par 5. Harry Hall pars it, misses a 5-footer for birdie. And then bogey 17. I get 17's a little bit more difficult, but people were it was a birdie fest coming in on 17. He bogeys it. It was just absolutely fucking killer. Welcome back, golf.
Welcome back. I wasn't watching, but I was watching the Sunday Night Live show as you pounded the desk.
The other one is, this happened in the room. Jared can attest to this yesterday when we were watching football. Cust has been on this weird thing that he thinks a PGA championship should be played at Kapalua for some reason. And he's been banging the drum about this, although he won't tune into a second of actual Kapalua to watch it. But, you know, he likes the idea of it. He thinks it would be a great course. He's like, oh, just make it a par 72. Then it'll be so much better. You know, Hideki would have only shot minus 31 if it was a par 72, not a minus 35 if you were there. And then he's like, you know, people agree with me on this. I was like, oh, do they now? He's like, yeah, I saved this thread. There was a random account on Twitter that had, I believe, 24 followers that tweeted at Tim reasons why Kapalua should host a major championship. And he's like, do you remember Tim being the guy as, oh, what do you know? You only have 13 followers. That's Tim. But now he's taking this one guy who tweeted at him to get on Cust's good side and listing off reasons, and now it's everyone thinks a major should be played at Kapalua, according to Tim.
I guarantee you, if you search that guy's history, there'd be a handful of tweets that are just like glad handing Tim. I know a few of the people out there. I see it. Doesn't matter what he says. They are 100% always allies. He used to he calls it like he used to make a comments like the Masters of the Pacific Islands or something. I don't even understand.
Yeah, it's because he heard that there's an Augusta and Kapalua comp. He's like, well, it must be a good course if you can comp it to Augusta.
The winners, because Phil and Bubba or something. Like, is that what the shtick was?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of elevation changes. I can see there are similarities theoretically with the course. One is a lot more difficult than the other. One has like the hardest greens and fastest greens on tour. One has the largest and slowest greens. So there's that huge aspect to it all. The uneven lies. But you got a lot of crossover winners between Kapalua over the years and Augusta, because realistically, it was like a 10-person event at Kapalua with 20 guys who most definitely weren't going to win. So obviously, you'd have a lot of like the very best players winning.
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you know the Team Cup is starting this weekend?
Okay, that's an English thing, right?
It's UK.
Women? It's a co-ed?
No. So you have no idea what it is.
I know UK. I know UK versus Asia. Is that what it is?
No. No,
I don't have a clue then.
No, it's a right. They do this during Ryder Cup years. It's a Ryder Cup warm-up event. So it's Great Britain and Ireland versus continental Europe. It's happening this week in Abu Dhabi. The Great Britain and Ireland team is pretty stacked. It's Rose is the captain, Laurie Cantor, Tommy, Tyrrell Hatton, Matthew Jordan, McKibben, Aaron Rye, Jordan Smith, Matt Wallace, and Paul Waring, and they're taking on Continental Europe. Molinari is the captain. Both Højgaards are playing. Matteo Montesero, Langesk, Rasmus Nergard Peterson, Nicholas Norgard, Olesen, Pavon, and Rosner are on that team. So Rom's not playing. Obviously, like Victor's not playing. So not all of the very top-end guys, but it's a pretty cool event. They like basically simulate the Ryder Cup to get people ready for these things. Like Europe is like 8 steps ahead of the US with these things.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And they're winning at Bethpage.
I don't think they are, but that's me.
No, it's me, and I think they are.
I mean, bet US in US is usually a really good bet. It's like betting Europe in Europe.
Yep, that's fine. That's fine. Also, just on that note, like Shoffley came out this week, just be like, all you people are losing your minds. Of course, all the money we get from the Ryder Cup is going to charity, which I always thought. But their ability, like, no one could be dumber than how this whole thing got framed from Go. And like the effects it has of like putting these guys in a negative light for a minor period of time. Like the rollout of it made these guys look really dumb. Not dumb, greedy. But of course it's going to fucking charity. Like they need it's not even enough money for these guys to care about.
It's not, but the PGA Tour needs to do a better job of at least coordinating some of this stuff, because it feels like the tour and the organizations throw the players under the bus a lot and expect the players to never throw them under the bus whatsoever. And maybe that's that's what the money is for. But at the same time, like, you need to protect your players a little bit, not make them all look like greedy assholes.
Thank you. You just said it so good. And all it does, yes, the money is going to charity, but it just, for whatever reason, it allows this narrative that like Europe has some like higher moral like ground, like is standing on some like higher morality, which whatever, fuck that. Europe's always acknowledged and been a great job in saying like all the money our players get goes right into like RNA and U Sport and growing the game throughout all of Europe. All the players seem happy about that. But you nailed it. The tour does they railroad the players and then get mad when offended when the players defend themselves. So good. I've said too many words. Good on the players.
The TGL, presented by SoFi, is golf's newest league. It's all indoors in an arena with high-tech meeting. High stakes meets prime time on ESPN. It's the 3-on-3 match play golf league that takes the competition of pro golf and places it inside the arena atmosphere. 6 teams featuring the PGA Tour's best players go head-to-head every single week. And we're talking players that get mic'd up, shot clocks, refs, never-before-seen holes, a moving green, the playoffs, the lights, the camera, all of the action all goes down. The first-of-its-kind arena golf league in Florida. And yes, you can bet on the TGL, which is the greatest part about this entire thing. You can stream it live on ESPN. So, what you need to do is tune in Mondays and Tuesdays on ESPN in January, find out the right odds, get a feel for how this is going to work, and go win some money. Remember, it's only on ESPN and ESPN Plus. This is TGL presented by SoFi. Keep up is golf. Let's move to the Sony Open from Waialae Country Club. If you missed the research show, that's already out on both the audio feed and the video feed. Once again, all you good people play in the race for the Mayo Cup, one and done. FantasyGolfChampionships.com is where you can get your entry. Let's fill that up. Grayson Murray is the defending champion at this event. He beat Ben Ann and Keegan Bradley in a playoff a year ago, draining a 36-foot putt in that playoff. We all remember Ben Ann missing the shorty. It's a short course, par 70, Bermuda grass, slightly faster greens than last week, slightly smaller greens than last week, just over 7,000 yards. Jeff, this is a part of the circuit throughout the course of the year, and I'll have this all in my write-up. And my write-ups are appearing on X now, which I feel like you'll appreciate. I know you go to the newsletter to read it as well, but I'm testing out publishing my articles on Twitter. You can find them all underneath the article tab under the PME. And if you could retweet them, like them, do whatever, like help share them around, especially at this type of year. That would really mean a lot to me, and it will get it into the system so I can start making those. And it's all for free anyway. You can sub to the newsletter and get the same stuff. But if that's a place where you want to find it, you can find it there as well. It really helps out the show, helps out discovery for the show. We're working on ways, Geoff, to make this a bigger show for 2025 and beyond. And this is one of the ways that I'm thinking about doing it. But I even wrote in there that I have sort of a collection of courses that I all put together, like when I'm trying to assess the field strength, the type of players that do well. And with this, it's Sedgefield, Colonial, Harbortown, Bermuda, Pebble Beach, maybe PGA National, and then Waialae. You just see a lot of same type of players, similar fields, and similar type of winners at those events.
So that's why Maverick McNeely is 30-1. Got it.
I mean, people also love Maverick McNeely. He might own the course for all we know.
I guess so. Yeah, those crossovers, easy to see where that makes sense.
Do you know who?
Easy to rely on those.
I'll have the best players per round from all of those events combined over the last 3 years in that article that will be released just after the show. And maybe I'll even put it down in the description for all y'all so you can find it out there, although timing might not work out on that. Either way, Luke Clanton, the best player. Only 4 rounds, but still. Luke Clanton just is the tops of everything this week for me, which is terrifying.
Yeah, interesting. 40
yeah.
would be the biggest I saw there.
When I guessed
I don't know that
I guessed the odds on Sunday, I thought he was going to be like 20-1.
I don't think I'm going to spoil anything. He'll have his own article. It'll probably be out around when this show is out. But I know our friend Vincenzi is very high on this Clanton 40.
Yeah, it's a really good number. Like, it's the first thing that I noticed. Like, the two biggest discrepancies. Let's get to the top of the odds and just talk about the field for a second. Like, it's a pretty strong field. 33 players from last week are playing this week. However, the past 2 winners broke that like decade-long trend of playing in the Sentry and playing in the Sony. But I had Thigala when I guessed the odds at like 18-1, and I had Clanton at 22. And those guys are like 40 and 42. Like, Clanton I can get at 45 right now.
I'm seeing Thiegs at 40, and that's a site that has an enhanced. So you could play Thiegs up to 45 on Phillip Rivers.
He was at, I bet him at 28-1 last week in a much harder field at a course that I thought was better for him that he came second in. I don't especially love him at this course, but that number really has me thinking that maybe, listen, I'll just bet on talent and bet on that guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sheer talent versus number play, right? And he is such a, I mean, I could be framing this a bit unfairly, but it seems like he is like the floor is low, but the ceiling is, ceiling's high. So I feel like in a Spiethian way, erratic moments you can maybe ignore and still want to trust the talent in the number.
I think it's better for his number. Like, Siwoo was like this for the longest time. Patrick Reed was always a guy like this, where he never got a ton of credit for the good performances unless he was coming off of a good performance. If he ever and he's not like Xander, where, Xander's bad week was basically what we saw. What did he end up coming, like 28th or something like that? That's like the worst week he's going to have. He's never like last, like Nick Dunlap was this week. But I don't care about that. If anything, that helps their odds, like the next week. We know what their upside is. It's just, and we're not betting top 5s and top 10s with these guys. We're betting wins or not wins, essentially. And if they're going to get themselves into the mix, I'd rather have the super erratic guy who can go very, very low.
Yeah, of course. The talent with, I guess people would debate like the win equity aspect, but like, this guy's going to be a winner. I don't mind like Clanton, Thiegs, 40s. Seems like a decent place to potentially start. There's some guys, I could never make these bets, but I do expect sort of all those players near the top to have lovely weeks. That's not a bold comment, but Connors, Tom Kim at 20. Like in a year ago, I may have already bet in Tom Kim at 20. So I'm just trying to slow my roll because I lost a lot of money on what I proclaimed to be the summer of Tom Kim last year. It was not.
I just bet Clanton at 45 as we were speaking. I feel like that number is going to get... People are going to look at that number and be like, what the hell is going on? Like, this guy was 16-1 to win tournaments last year. And all he did during the swing season was have 3 top 10s and 5 starts.
Is that Cool Bet? Where's that?
That was actually at 365. There was a 20. There was a 28 on Keegan Bradley at Cool Bet that might be gone as of right now, but
If there's a few those 40s on Clanton. Enhanced 45.
Yeah, enhanced 45 at 365 is where it was.
Yeah.
Where's that Zalatoris is still 66 to win the U.S. Open at Coolbet, by the way, just to kind of throw that out there. Let's go to the top of the board, though. In terms of the odds this week, coming off of his win, we do have Hideki Matsuyama. 10-1 is the best number, lingering on him right now. Connors 14-1. Tom Kim is at 20. Ben An and Russell Henley. The Heartbreak Kid. He's the Shawn Michaels of the Sony Open. Russell Henley. I know he won in 2010, but I bet him so many times since. And he lost to Hideki in that playoff 2 years ago. Keegan's at 25. Mav is at 33. And Kim is at 30-1 to win this tournament. Those are the top 8 on the board. I have 2 pretty strong takes of guys that I like in here, but I don't know how different they are from guys that are below them, which does worry me. I have no interest in the top of the board. Looking back at the past 5 years of this tournament, again, this is all information you can get in that free article that I'm putting it out. Retweet it on the Twitter machine and subscribe to the free Mayo Media newsletter. That's all in the description. That'll get sent out after this show. But to crib from that a little bit, Geoff, like looking back at the guys who have won this tournament, Hideki is a weird outlier because he won, I believe, at 18-1 the year that he won. Other than that, we're looking at 40, 40, 60, 80, 60, 40, and then you had Grayson Murray at 400-1. Like, outside of Justin Thomas and Hideki in the past decade, the favorites don't fare particularly well at this tournament. It can happen, it's just not often it happens.
Yeah. I mean, I think Corey Connors is going to be amazing this week. I just can't bet Corey Connors at 14-1.
No. Well, what if he shows up regular putting Corey Connors? And he has putted well at this tournament over time. Like, I would even look, because Connors is so favored in the market right now, that I would even be looking to fade him as top Canadian. Like, Nick Taylor's been absolute dog shit, but he's really good at this tournament.
Yeah, and there's a few of them here, right? Svensson, Hughes, I think could all give him a run for his money.
Like, this is a good Silverman tournament, too. It's just wedges and putting. Like, that's where he excels.
My favorite,
your boy Ben Silver, your neighbor Ben Silverman,
my friend's neighbors with his brother. That's the. If I had to make a play under 30-1, I would fall into the honey trap. That is Tom Kim.
I would bet Keegan. I had Keegan last year. Obviously, he lost in the playoff. I had Keegan at Colonial. I think he ended up coming in second. Like, he's really good at this type of course. And even looking at his numbers, he plays this tournament every year. He's gained at least 5 strokes tee to green 6 of the past 7 years. It was 2 years ago where he wasn't very good, and he lost a bunch of strokes putting. But it's all going to depend on his putter. If he shows up with like a relatively good putter, which we've seen him do, it's either really bad or really good. If he shows up with a good putter, I think he's going to win. So I'm betting Keegan Bradley at 28-1.
Ooh, okay. I just, and as for Ben and Henley, I mean, like, it's easy to see why you would want to bet them. I just don't have the stones to play those numbers. Those guys.
I don't like the Keegan number either. Like, it sucks, but whatever. I was hoping to catch like a 35 or a 40, but 28 is going to be good enough. It's down to 27 on the enhanced on Bet365 right now. It's 25 in other spots. I could see him being a relatively popular pick, and I could go with Siwoo as well. I can get him as high as 33. I mean, he's won here before. This is his perfect type of course. You know, I love me some Siwoo. I don't want to get there right now. Like, I bet Keegan and I just bet Clanton. I don't want to just say, oh, here are my 5 picks for right now, and not give myself a little bit more time to think about some of the guys down the board. But Siwoo is very short list for me.
I don't even know if the Ben An number is unfair relative to, like, we've seen him go off in like stronger fields in the mid 30s that I felt was short, and this is a course that works for him. I don't know. I guess if you can't tell, I had him last year when he lost to the dead guy. So we're gonna pass. We're gonna pass this year. I'm gonna pass this whole range on my odds screen. I just saw a lone 33 on Mav flash down to 28. So seems like the better Mav number is already gone. People are happy to bet it, like you said they would.
So that 30 to 60 range, where the majority of the winners from the past 10 years have come from. So Mav was in that range. Were you thinking about betting Mav anyway? Because I really wasn't.
No. Not really. But I would have probably like the corollary stuff would have hit for me. I'm building a card like 50 and above, and I still hope it's small.
Okay, I mean, I can mostly see that. There was one name that I
Lied. Sorry, I'm gonna join the Clanton party. I can't not. So 40 and above. For the transparency, 40 and above.
So Siwoo 33 is shortlist for me. Bobby Mack is the other one. I really like Bobby Mack at this style of course. His iron play was excellent. That's something I noted through 2 rounds at least on the research show. I didn't put that into action. I was thinking about this. Paul was smart enough to go in on him at the Sentry and really ride that wave. But when you take a look at where he's played well, where he won last year, even in Hamilton, worry about the greens a little bit. But again, it's like Keegan. Bobby Mack's going to putt or he's not going to putt. There's very few like break-even weeks for him, and the shorter courses are really where he has shown a lot of his strength. Even in Scotland when he won, that's not an overly daunting course, but these are the types of courses where I really like him. He can really go attack with those just beyond wedges, that like 150 to 175 range, where the plurality of the shots are going to come in from this week. And listen, he won twice last year. I thought he would be deeper on the board, and that's what gives me a little bit of pause. But I do like him here. So he's shortlisted with Siwoo for me. I'll see if I end up getting there.
Did you see how many strokes he lost putting last week?
I did not. Was it a lot? Because it tends to be a lot when he loses.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a much better putter, much more consistent. And obviously that guy won 2 tournaments, enjoyed the Guinness with family. He lost 8 strokes on the greens last week.
Yeah, 8.
So maybe just
0.3 strokes at the Sentry. Now, he had gained, so the last time he had lost before that was at the Rocket Mortgage, where he lost 3. Before that, it was at Honda when he lost 5. And at the Farmers last year, in 1 round, he lost 7 strokes putting. But in between that, like at St. Jude, gained 5. In Canada, gained 11. At the Scottish, when he won, he gained 4. At the Travelers, he gained 3, 3.5. At the PGA Championship. Like, I don't need the 11, but that 3.5 to 5 range is enough to win this tournament with the rest of his game.
Yeah, an intriguing. I mean, a player, I guess, as outright bettors, shows the ability to spike, and he rarely. I mean, the floor putting weeks are pretty rare, to be honest.
They are, but they pop up, and when they're bad, they're really bad, and you feel very stupid for betting him on those weeks. But whatever.
I don't. I mean, I like the case, and as someone who would want to bet him this week, I'd see that 8.3 loss last week and be like, perfect. Like this sets up for. Like, you know, speaking of revving an engine, like he had to do it. So I don't know that I'm going to get there with the bet, though.
Well, are there other guys between 30 and 60? We already talked about Clanton. Now we've both bet Clanton at 45. Would you bet Theegala? Because I think that's a question that I'm really going to have to seriously ask myself. I bet, like I said, I bet him last week. He performed very poorly. What do you do? And now he's at a deeper number in a weaker field.
I mean, I'm a slut for like talent. And me thinking what his odds would be with a little bit of form. And like I'm staring at a 45 enhanced on Rivers. So that is not part of me feels like I'll have to make a decision on this because I don't think that's going to hang around too long.
I don't know. You know what? I don't know. Because like when I look at it, like would I rather bet at this course in particular? Would I rather bet Theegala or
Ben Griffin?
I was going to say Austin Eckroat, but like that style of player, I think all of us default to that style of player because that's the style of player that we see win here. But when we're talking about talent, you rarely see that level of talent get into this field like Theegala. And listen, no one hits the fairway here. It's not like this is an accuracy maven's course. It's just a shorter irons course. And if you can roll a really hot putter and get it going, like you're gonna be in contention. And we see how I really wish Akshay was playing this week. I feel like this would be a perfect course for him. But Theegala can just go hog wild off the tee as long as he doesn't hit it out of bounds. Like everyone else is hitting out of the rough anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind your Eckroat thought. Like
yeah,
I could see a lot of people building
what's different
cards
though? What's different between Eckroat and Davis Thompson and Brian Harmon and Seb Straka and Pendrith and JT Poston and Matt McNeil? Like all those guys are the same guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could see a lot of people constructing cards with like that player profile and that like group of them at like between 40 and 60. Been like that's who I'm rolling with.
I can too. Like Chris Kirk, also someone who has just played this tournament incredibly well over the years. I bet on him last year. He was the only player inside the top 25 who lost strokes putting. So that's always fun to have. And he lost a bunch too. So I wouldn't mind going back to him. Maybe it's a first round leader play. I don't know. Cam Davis is someone who showed up last week. He's played this tournament well. He was the first round leader at this course last year. He's 60-1. Like I also don't see a lot of difference between these guys and the guys at 40-1.
Okay, so Cam Davis is a guy that I've been looking at this week. I mean, those last 3 rounds last week were clearly attention-getting. The results here, I mean, he's played here a bit. I forgot he was first-round leader last year, but it's, a lot of, like, middling results, like 20th, 30th place. That doesn't scare me off. Cam Davis, what is he, 70-1, which I've seen as low as, using the grid, there's 45s out there. So Cam Davis is a guy I like to think I'm going to be betting.
Okay, so we talk about those guys. Is there anyone else? Like, should I go back to Harry Hall? Like, dude did just come 7th at the Sentry, and he's 55 or 60-1 now.
I mean, I kind of looked right through it, but he does work with a lot of the profile you just mentioned. That'll be pretty popular here.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. So if we go to that like 60 to 100 range, and the reason that I brought up all those guys, the Eckroats, Kitayama's weirdly high in this. I know he had a great finish to the swing season, plays ball at Coastal, and he was even someone I highlighted in the odd show, assuming he was going to be like 80-1, not 35-1. So I thought that was somewhat interesting. But between the Harmons, Harmon's probably not a bad look here coming off a bad week. Like if he has a good week, he's 20-1 in this field. He had a bad week and now he's 50-1. But he's another profile player for here. But Poston, Eckroat, Thompson, Harmon, Griffin, Harry Hall. If you just scroll down a little bit more, you're into Tom Hoagie and Eric Cole, both at 80-1. Denny's down there. Your boy Dietrich, who just contended, is 80-1.
Yeah, so Detry, maybe we got to day trade this one. Like we get in on it at 80, but commit to getting out of it. Maybe not the ideal course fit, and he's like certified gutless. But I'm not going to lie, it's a high number for a guy I believe is ubers of talent. So that's when I'm swimming around with Cam Davis. A bet I've made, though, Pat. I bet on Dan Berger at 80-1. And it's 80-1 seems so strong. I'm having should I play some each way on Dan Berger?
Really?
At 80-1.
Interesting. Why do you like Berger so much here?
I feel I bet him a lot in the swing season.
Me too. Didn't work.
I'm riding through that. Although there was a second place at the RSM, so it's coming. I feel like this is a high talent player who battled through a lot, who's put the reps in the off season. I believe this 80-1 seems pretty fair for him. Yeah.
I went back. I just made this as we were speaking. I just made Dunlap 70. I bit 5 points off the outright for the 8th place each way. I bet Nick Dunlap at 75-1. I bet him last week at the same number against all the good players. I said he's such a high variance player. I don't think he deserves to be lumped down. Listen, Michael Kim's my guy. Friend of the show, Michael Kim. And I might end up betting on Michael Kim too. I think it's a nice spot for him. But you put Nick Dunlap in conjunction with Putnam and Griot and Hadwin, Kuchar, Michael Kim, and Doug Gim. Dunlap's better than that. He might end up worse on the leaderboard, but I think he has the best chance to win of all those guys.
I think it'd be hard to disprove that. I have a silly question. Is Griot here? Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yeah, he's 100-1. There's a couple guys at 100-1 who are pretty interesting. Mac Meisner at 100-1. Was someone who just was all over every stat that I looked at.
Your boy Michael Kim?
I just said his name, but yes.
And what about Thorbjornsen? Seeing as high as 90.
I believe Paul. That was Paul's strategy, wasn't it, Paul?
Yeah, I just bet the kids this week. Clanton, Dunlap, and Thorbjornsen.
I'm a slut for young talent, Paul. I could easily get on this wave. Thorbjornsen 90 at Phillip Rivers, which you could enhance that to probably 100, to be honest, if the original is a 90. Dunlop as well.
Yeah, I mean,
high ceiling kids, high talent youngins.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few people like you. The way that you talked about Daniel Berger is how I felt about JJ Spawn all throughout the swing season. I kept betting on him, and it was close, and it just didn't happen. Joe Highsmith is a pretty good shout, I think, for like top 30, top 20 market. I'm not going to get to him to win, but I think he had reeled off 5 top 20s in his 6 starts in the swing season. It was really good. Write that one down.
He's bucket hat, long sun sleeves, right?
That's him. He's like,
or not bucket hat, it's sun hat, sun sleeves. It's like the ladies who, in their push carts, who just can hit it like 130 dead straight every time. They wear that outfit.
Yeah, and that's what basically he's trying to do. Plus, he makes all of his putts, which is super helpful at a course like this.
It really does help.
Is that ringing coming from your end or my end? Do you hear that? Am I the only one who hears that? Am I going crazy?
Just one second. Just 1 second.
Okay. I think I'm hearing it through Jeff's microphone, but just even to break down this field a little bit more from the 50 to 100 range, like there's just a lot of the same names. I do think that there is some sort of value to be had on Eric Cole, Dietrich, and Hoagie, all between that like 60 to 1 and 80 to 1 range. And if everyone was in on Eric Cole last week and wanted to draft him first overall in Underdog Best Ball, code Mayo to get us that contest, by the way. So if you're ever wanting to help out the show, use code Mayo at Underdog right now. That way you get your deposit bonus of up to $1,000. You can just draft all your NFL playoff teams and PGA best ball teams upcoming, starting at the Waste Management Open with all your bonus funds. Then you can roll the rest of it into all the pick'em game where, we didn't win every single entry that we played over the weekend, but I had 2 $2,000 winners and another $1,500 winner. So it turned out to be very nice. So just use code Mayo, go sign up at Underdog right now. But Paul, do any of those guys interest you? Or are those guys just gutless, you never want to bet them?
Sorry, which guys again?
Hoagie, Cole, Dietrich, even throw Billy Horschel into that mix.
Yes.
Not for me.
Not for you?
I'm not getting too invested in, like, outright winning.
That's fair.
If you had to pick one of those guys, I assume you would pick Hoagie.
I'd probably pick Eric Cole because I know he can make the putts.
You like dropped your head in shame there before you.
Well, it's the antithesis of everything that I like. Like I like Hoagie because dude goes pin seeking, and I think that's how you can win tournaments like this. But at the same time, like I always lean the better approach players over the better putters, and I feel like I've put too much stock into that, where I've completely negated putting. I've been trying to get out of that, and yeah, it's going to be variant week to week. But there are some guys that tend to putt better than others. And Eric Cole is someone that I've seen play well at courses like this in the past, be it at PGA National when he, had that heartbreak for us against Chris Kirk when he lost in the playoff. But these types of courses are where he does his best work. I don't know. Like, if he's ever going to get a win, it's going to be at a Sony Open. It's not going to be at the Masters.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
And
so
listen,
I get it. You want to chase it at this number?
I don't even feel like it's chasing it. It's a lot like the Thigala thing where, I don't know, if Eric Cole comes T7 last week at the Sentry, what is his number for this tournament? 28 to 1? Is he Matt McNeely?
Yeah, those are fair points based on how people have wanted to bet him in the past at any sort of putting course. You are probably right. As someone who's never really, like, I haven't gotten on Cole in a way where I've gotten burned or rode it. So I see that 80 and I see that as like that would be an ideal time to potentially jump on. So I would be looking at Cole. I'm also crazy enough, though, to be looking at Detry. That would probably... I don't even... What's the fucking point of me playing it each way? Like, I don't even...
You just really don't want to do it, do you? You'd rather have that...
No, well, because I'm not trying to sound like... It's going to sound so dumb. But, like, I'm not doing this... I accept... that I can go a couple months without like hitting a golf bet. And I'm prepared for that. And hobbies can be expensive. Good thing I'm pretty fucking boring.
Yeah.
That being said,
you could have a golf betting problem where you lose money or a cocaine problem, which will cost you more money. And there's no real upside from that.
Yeah. But my point is, it's like, I get it. You want to play the each way. Maybe it gives you something like to sweat. but it also like puts a little juice into the account for like the next week. It like kicks a can down the road a little. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Like, like, what am I gonna get? A couple free bets out of next week from it? No, I'm trying to hit the number, as we spoke about at the top. Take everything we said at the top, and I'm just like, this is my entertainment. That's how I do it. I'm gonna hit that each way and be like, oh, like, I've always felt that water would find its level as well, that I will hit enough winners where like each way I missed out on getting some nibbles back, when I do hit the winner and get the full load, that like that offsets all the each ways that I missed. Last year I didn't, so maybe I feel scorned, but I don't know. I don't need my nibble in the account for next week. I'll just deal with it next week. So each way.
Yeah. I think it's all about personal preference. I don't think there's one better way to bet than another.
Right.
I know that Kenny had a lot of success with each ways last year. That kept his account rolling forward. Like, if Harry Hall just makes the putt, I mean, he would have chopped his each way, so it wouldn't have been as much. If he goes par birdie instead of bogey par, I end up winning double my investment last week. So it would have been very profitable for me if Harry Hall had got there. Obviously, he doesn't get there, so I get wiped out in return $0. But I also don't play each ways on everyone either. There's also a certain type of player I like to play each ways on, and Eric Cole would be one of them. I played the 8 with Dunlap, but realistically, you probably don't need to play the 8 with Dunlap. Either he's going to win or he's going to be out of it.
And that's a fair point. And maybe like if you want to be investing in Thomas Detry, like you should probably play the each way. But I'd look at that and be like, haven't played the each way yet. I'm not going to start now. That shit's going to hit red on that roulette wheel, baby. Let's go. But yeah, Davis, Clanton, Berger. That is where my money is right now.
All right, well, let's talk about the 100 to 1 range very briefly, because I have a bet in here, and it's David Lipsky. I mentioned that off the top of the show. And what was his number for? Plus 550 for a top 20 finish on David Lipsky. I also bet him outright 8 places at 275 to 1. So that's a place where I would do the each way on it. Just, if David Lipsky gets in the mix, and he was T4 here 2 years ago, but he had a really strong swing season, and apparently everyone paid attention to Kitayama's swing season, which was immaculate, and these high finishes, yet no one wants to pay any attention to David Lipsky in this spot. Like, he's not even on the radar. He's not flying below the radar. He's just not on. They're not even looking to see him coming in. It's just, you can sneak him right through. But he finished the swing season with top 10s in 3 of his final 6 starts. And his 2 best finishes from last season came at Bermuda and Colonial, which are the 2 best courses to link to this one in a lot of ways. And he has a T4 at this place. Like, yeah, he might come last. I feel like his number is wrong. It should be like, his number should be like 150 to 1, not 300 to 1 is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I saw him at 350. Holy shit. Yeah, that's pretty big, Pat.
Anyway, just for someone down the board, that's who I like.
Find me a winner 100 or above. I mean, I just like get cheap and just try to ride a profile and like Hubbard or Hadwin. Like, I'd be like copping out. Like, if you asked me to find the winner 100 or above, like, I'd try to chase that profile.
I think that makes sense. I mean, I'm obviously not going to get to all these names or even any of them. But like I mentioned, Highsmith, I like Highsmith in the placement market a little bit better. I mentioned Spawn. I think Spawn could win. Nick Taylor is really the interesting one for me because either he's going to win or he's going to be dead last. That's like his jam. He's won like 5 times on tour now.
Has he made a cut yet?
No, well, he made the cut last week when there was no cut.
Yeah, there was no cut. Yeah, sure. I'd just be naming names, but there is a player I want to open here.
Let's see, Nick
Grayson
Taylor.
Sig.
You love Grayson Sig. If his name was Grayson Jones, you would never bring him.
I'm trying to find him. I want to just see if my perception is like way off. I can't find him on the grid on Fantasy National. Just search. But yeah,
There he is.
just
what do you want to know about Grayson Sig? I got him pulled up. What do you want? What is your preconceived notion of Grayson Sig? And let me tell you what he actually does.
I kind of just wanted to see what he did in the swing, and I remembered it being pretty pretty admirable.
It was pretty good. Yeah, in 6 starts, he missed 2 cuts. He missed at Sanderson and RSM. He was top 10 in Bermuda and top 10 in Napa, 11th in Utah, and then 23rd at the Shriners. But, yeah, he was all right.
No bet.
No
Pass.
bet. No bet. Pass on Grayson Sig. Who are some other names down here? I'm with you. Like the Hubbard, Rico Hui is down here as well, my guy. Justin Lauer, there's just another guy. Jesper Svensson is playing in his first event. He qualified through the DP World Tour, and he's one of the few that are deciding to play in this instead of the Team Cup right now, which I'm sure he would have qualified for.
So
he won in Singapore or Hong Kong last year, and he finished T7 at the DP World Tour Championship. He could be a real guy on that level. And Matty Schmidt is 175 to 1. This is a guy that we were actively betting at 33 to 1 during the swing season.
All true and good points. Obviously, I got to see what Skylar's got this week because there'll be a lot of random Asians I have never heard of.
I can tell. I wrote them up. Who would you like to know? Would you like to know about
Mao Matsuyama?
The great leap forward, Mao Matsuyama. He's 15 years old.
Oh my god! I'm part of my ignorance. Is there a relation here?
No,
or just
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know how common the name Matsuyama is in Japan. I don't know how common the name Mao is in Japan, but here we are. But it's the reason that Hideki continues to play in this tournament. There's the link between the Japanese tour and the Sony Open. Yeah. I believe they gave Hideki a start when he was 16, and it was the first PGA event he played in, and hence why he tends to play in this every single year. That it's a great way to foster a good bridge to this. But what were you doing at 15? I was looking for trying to find someone to buy me booze and try to find free porn because the internet wasn't really a thing yet.
Yeah, 15. So we're talking 2000-ish.
Yeah, 99.
99, 2000, working on stealing music and porn off the internet.
Yeah,
I guess
you weren't playing.
That's what I was doing. I noticed. Who do you have for low Mao? William Mao or Mao Matsuyama?
I don't know a ton about William Mao. I think he's someone who qualified. He might be from Hawaii. So there's a few guys in this field. So I wrote up.
Kuchar's son is playing in made it into the Monday quali today. So that'd be awesome if he got in.
If he doesn't get in, is he going to be Kuchar's caddy and then Kuchar will stiff him when he wins?
No, I imagine this guy, the caddies get stiffed so this Cameron can live the life.
That's probably true. Matt Kuchar's been very good to me at this tournament over the years. I shouldn't really badmouth Matt Kuchar. He's one of my most winning, profitable golfers of all time. It's good because I hit him in that tournament that he did stiff the caddy, and then he won this tournament in his very next start, which was just immaculate. So there's a few other guys. So is it Alistair? Let's see.
Alice Portridge.
It's Pottinger.
Aldrich Pottinger.
Yeah, Aldrich Pottinger. He's 38.
Brick Shithouse.
Yeah, he's 80 feet tall from South Africa. Finished the season really strong. He won on Corn Ferry last year. He's 20 years old, and he had consecutive top 10s in Australia and the Nedbank in South Africa to end to end the year, but it's to start the season on the DP World Tours. And he's 20 years old. Remember we saw him play at Memorial that time? He made one of the shots of the weekend, over trees on a par 5 to get there in 2. Dude can absolutely mash it off the tee. You have Yuta Segura. He won the Japan PGA Championship. He was T6 at Zozo in October. Mao Matsuyama, as mentioned, is 15. Takumi Kanata is playing in this. He's played 23 PGA Tour events and or majors, and he's never made the cut.
Interesting.
And then Hirata is 112th in the world golf rankings. He won 4 times in Japan last year. He played in this event. He's 22. He played in the Sony last year and missed the cut, but then he went on to win 4 times in Japan after that. So I thought that was interesting.
And I have no doubt Sky's going to have bets on multiples of them with these crazy each ways, and one of them will hit their placing.
Well, that would be probably the guy that I would go with who probably has the most upside. What are his odds? His odds are 325 to 1. I'd probably just take Pottinger because he might actually be a legit dude a year from now.
He's got to be on Paul's Kelly Taylor, Kelly Kapowski card.
That's right.
He fits right in. On that note, I'm going to be betting Thorpe. I'm not sure if it's a course fit, but
I could see that. I mean, I think that he's going to win. I could see him challenging at Farmers or Mexico because I really think like his prodigious off the tee skill set works really well there. I just find it hard. Like I like Thorbjornsen a lot, but I find it very hard to back him right now at the same price as Dietrich and Cole and Hoagie. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I can get quite a few more points, but even I don't know, like him and you mentioned Mac. Like I don't know,
Mac Meisner
around 100.
Mark Messier. We can bet on him
Yeah.
again. He can give you some Lay's chips and an outright winner at 110 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do it. Quick picks for the Sony Open. First time this year. If you've skipped ahead to this part, I'm going to tell you to play in the one and done again. Fantasy Golf Championships.com. All right, go do that right now. It starts this week at the Sony Open. I got Keegan Bradley at 28 to 1, Luke Clanton at 45 to 1, Nick Dunlap 75 to 1 with 8 places, and David Lipsky 275 to 1 with 8 places. Those are the ones that I'm in on already. Official bets down. The other ones that I'm circling around, and we'll hash this out with Tambo on Wednesday's show as I continue to gather more information. Siwoo, Thigala, and Bobby Mack, all in that like 30 to 45 range. I have interest in. Obviously, it's not going to be all of them. I'll have to make a decision. Michael Kim, Eric Cole at 75, Highsmith top 20s and top 30s. Mac Meisner, maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's like a top 20, top 10 on him. And I did play Lipsky with the top 20 at plus 550 as well.
I'm riding this Clanton party. I'm in on it. Berger 80 and Cam Davis 70. Those are in. And when we get off here, I'm probably gonna find the biggest Thorb. Also, like I don't have the discipline, so I'll probably be swimming around Detry, to no one's surprise, and a few of those names you mentioned, potentially Eric Cole, Sepp Straka, could be looking at.
Did you make the Clanton bet yet?
Not like a starter bet.
Because he just
like I'm gonna want more.
He has flopped like 3 times. I had the cool bet screen open. He went from 45 to 40 to 33, and now he's back to 40 within like the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. All right. We'll get back in there. But yeah, in Clanton, Davis, Berger, I'm gonna have a couple more north of 60.
Yeah, I'm gonna circle Harry Hall as well, considering I bet him last week. He's still 50 to 1, and I think his profile for this course does work out really well. It's an interesting week. I think it's good. I'm excited to play DraftKings this week as well, just because this is more of the style of event. You know, it's 144 players. There's an actual cut line. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm happy to have real golf back. That makes me excited. We were excited to talk about Kapalua because we haven't talked about golf in a while, but this is genuinely exciting for me. But there's one final thing to do. That is make our one and done picks for the Sony Open. FantasyGolfChampionships.com to get into the big 4,500 person one and done, $1 million in the prize pool, 100K to first. But those are not the picks that we are using in this. It's me versus you versus Cust for this tournament, the 3-way you won last year. But of note, 2 people who maybe didn't read the one and done strategy article that I released or watch the strategy video that I released. You can get both in the description right now and go check those out after you're done here. But you know who's a really bad pick in the one and done this week, Jeff?
Who?
Luke Clanton.
Tim picked him?
No, whether he wins or comes last, he earns the same amount of money. $0.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
He is an amateur, in case people don't know.
Shit. This is tough because like there's guys I want to roll here, but like a guy like Henley, I think he's just like the shitty field maven. So it's like I don't want to burn him.
So just a quick like TDRL of the one and done strategy. Use all your good players, the elite players, and so Tim has picked Harris English for this week. Unless Harris English really heated up throughout the course of the season, maybe he ends up winning and it's a great pick. I don't want to besmirch him because that's where he wants to go. I just don't think you need to go that off the board with someone, especially maybe in the first event you can. Save your really good players for the high purse events. This is not a high purse event. But where are you really realistically going to use Russell Henley at another point? You're going to use him at a major, Jeff?
Nope. Okay, that's it. I don't overthink it. Russell Henley, we can burn him.
Yeah,
That's who I'm going to use.
I'm going to use Keegan Bradley for the purposes of our three-way. But as one thing I did write about, the strategy of a 3-person one and done is much different than the strategy of a 4,500-person one and done. It's no different than a head-to-head contest on DraftKings versus trying to win the Millionaire Maker. Like, there's certain extra steps that you need to take to really optimize your strategy. Now, the optimal strategy, Jeff, is pick people who win tournaments. I hear that works. I'm just bad at that.
Yep. Pick people who win tournaments. And the great news for me about this week, Pat, is like I could bet, doesn't matter how many guys I bet. I could bet half the board. I won't even notice if the Chargers lose.
Come on now. Oh, if the Chargers lose, you won't notice how much money you lost?
Yeah, just, well, okay, I guess that all like blurred together. What did I do there? Yes, did I feel shame about that insane Matsuyama call yesterday? Of course. But, like, when you're as bad as I am at betting the NFL, like, I got other things to feel shame about on Sunday. So it kind of just, like, was a wash. That's all.
Well, I mean, for everyone who said, I mean, you can frame it one way. Like, when we give Cust a lot of shit, he's going out of his way to say something isn't going to happen, then it does happen. Now, you did do that, but it's not like people were lining up to bet Matsuyama either. So technically, they did the same thing as you. They just didn't say it out loud on a show like you did.
I guess. Yeah.
That's the glory
enough.
of golf.
That is golf. Man versus man, man versus nature, man versus himself.
Well, that will
Love
do
that
it.
sucker.
On the Pat Mayo experience, code Mayo at Underdog will get you that $1,000 deposit bonus and help us unlock a potential rake-free PME Listeners League to draft the rest of the season starting at the Waste Management. That would be very helpful. Filling up the one and done would be very helpful. Smashing the like would be very helpful. And if you do want access to that leaderboard, you can go to fantasynational.com/Mayo to get yourself 20% off. It will not be a long break for you good viewers to hear more of me and Jeff and Cust, because tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, we will have the Spread Pick show for the NFL playoffs. I'll be back on Wednesday with Tambo, Cam, and Rob on Thursday. And then the live show, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday, live on Mayo Media Network. Help us support that show. And as always, you can find the articles both in the newsletter, and I'm publishing them on X now as well, too. All right? Thank you all for watching. Let's hit some winners. I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. Experience.